As someone who loves Japan and Japanese culture, I was super excited when Assassin's Creed Shadows was first announced. If you've been here for a while, you know my first foray into the series content was Assassin's Creed Mirage. I did a full review for that game here on the channel. But Mirage didn't really stick for me in terms of interest after my review phase, and I'm not really sure why to this day. I didn't really get far because I got stuck in a section of the story, but most times that isn't a stopping point for me. It was the game itself that just wasn't clicking for me outside of an accessibility standpoint. I love the premise of the Assassin's Creed games. I love being sneaky, or in most times trying to be sneaky. So I really hoped that Shadows would be the game that would click for me. Now the question is, did it deliver? Is it accessible? Let's talk about it. What's up, guys? I'm Dynamic Reactions, and welcome to the level where I talk about accessibility in gaming and my experience as a disabled gamer. It's been a long time since I've done an accessibility review or a video, period. I've been doing college-y things. I've been mostly streaming on this channel, and I'm happy to be here doing a review of Assassin's Creed Shadows for y'all. Thanks to Ubisoft for providing me with early access as well as early demo access earlier on in the month. So I'm going to be talking about that and the accessibility features that are in the game, as well as what I think can be improved in the game. And of course, my overall thoughts on the game as a whole. So let's get started. First off, I want to start by saying that Shadows is hands down one of the most beautiful games I've ever played on PS5. The environment is absolutely gorgeous. I still think Ubisoft could update character face animations, but that's always been a nitpick of mine when it comes to games of theirs. The world of Mirage is so vast and full of life and animals that you can pet, and there's a bajillion things that you can do that are so cool for learning about Japanese culture, but it's also a little bit overwhelming, and I'll talk about that in my accessibility section. Naoe is a dream assassin for me. I love to sneak, but I also love a character that is adept at hand-to-hand combat. I often struggled in Assassin's Creed Mirage with Basim because it felt like he was supposed to be stealthy pretty much all of the time. Not really suited for hand-to-hand combat. But Naoe feels strong and fluid, and she's really fun to play. Yasuke, once you get him as a protagonist, fulfills all my desires when it comes to charging through combat like a raging bull. And the way that Naoe and Yasuke play off each other in the story is really adorable. I know that when the game was first announced, there was a lot of drama and concern around Yasuke, some valid, some not. Some people were worried that they wouldn't get their sneaky assassin playtime in, and I'm happy to report for you that Assassin's Creed is still Assassin's Creed, and you get plenty of time to play as Naoe before you even get to Yasuke. Because of the overwhelming amount of things to do, I was 12 hours into the game before I got my hands on him fully, even though you start out the game controlling him for a small section. And once you have control of them both, the switch between the two is seamless and really fun. The game is gorgeous, and if you're willing to sink some time in, I say check out the game. There's a lot of mystery to be found. Listen, when I first started playing Assassin's Creed Mirage, I couldn't give a crap about the Animus. Listen, I know it's a hub. I know I probably just committed some great fandom sin by saying I don't care about the Animus, but like the drama involved, child, I'm emotionally invested. That's all I need to say. Let's get to the menu overview. At the start of the game, you're given 4 difficulty options: story, forgiving, normal, expert, as well as the ability to turn narration on and off. I should say, once you start the game, you go straight into the new Animus menu, which I really enjoy. It's nice to see all the games that you have in one place. You also have the ability to turn guided exploration on and off, the ability to turn canon mode on and off, which disables the ability to make choices that might affect the story, and immersive mode, which locks the voiceover to Japanese and Portuguese if you're looking for a more authentic experience. In the controls menu, you have the ability to customize your controls and remap your buttons. You also have the ability to turn left-handed layout on and off, the ability to turn on auto movement, which is a lifesaver for me when following characters, the option to toggle your HUD on and off, and multiple options for vibration. You also have camera orientation and sensitivity options, as well as the ability to adjust the dead zones of your joysticks and adaptive triggers. If you're on PS5, the same options extend to the keyboard and mouse menu as well. In audio options, you have your standard audio mix and controls, an option to change the language of your game, and an option for turning your controller speaker on and off, music frequency, and turning on focus and dynamic range. There's also an audio glossary for blind players, so you know what you're hearing. The captions menu is also in the audio section, with the ability to turn the subtitles on and off and customize them to the regular Ubisoft standards for size, color, and speaker name, as well as direction for which the person is speaking. There's even closed captions and the standard Ubisoft example of what the captions will look like when you turn them on. The narration tab is also in the audio section, with an on and off switch for describe narration for cutscenes, as well as the controls for screen narration. The describe cinematic option is one of my favorite parts because the narrator sounds like a movie trailer voiceover artist. In the interface tab, you can adjust the color of your UI for color blindness, text size, icon size. You can also change your HUD preset to default, simplified, or minimal, and turn the HUD on and off. You can go even further with HUD customization, which consists of turning on and off tips and messages or control reminders, changing the objective module and how much it appears, turning on and off icons, the compass, the visibility meter, loop notifications, interaction prompts, and more. You can also adjust your HUD opacity and background. In the final gameplay section of the menu, you have input mode, which allows you to change from keyboard to controller. You can even have a hybrid mode where you use keyboard and controller at the same time if you want. Aim assist, which has 4 options: full, light, moderate, or off. An option to adjust how visible the dialogue icons are. You can also adjust how you want your QuickTime events to look. You can choose default, simplified, or auto, which allows the characters to do their time events for you instead of you pressing buttons. There's also an option for area loot, and I have it turned on. If I'm being honest, I'm unsure how well it works. Most times I still find myself going out after finishing a castle or doing anything else and manually picking up loot, or manually going up to a box and picking it up. So I haven't really seen it work. It might be a bug. That's just my experience with it. There's also an option to change which attack mode you want to use. You have the option of default, which uses a single button to trigger an attack. combo mode, which causes combos to be triggered by a single button press, or combo and posture, which is my personal favorite because I hate to press two buttons at once and would prefer to do all my fancy attacks with one button press. There's also an option to adjust how the lock on camera behaves for the aim assist. You have two options, default and auto. In default mode, you're pressing R3 to lock on to your enemies, and the auto target lock on auto automatically locks onto a target when combat starts. You also have the option to turn the camera follow on and off, as well as screen shake, dismemberment, and blood effect. Overall, my gameplay experience has been really fun so far. I haven't run into a challenge that I can't complete yet. I plan on streaming the game just in case I run into something. I spent a good majority of my review time when I got my code playing as Nawe after the intro. Most of my experience playing Yasuke comes from being invited to the demo experience earlier a couple months back. I feel like story-wise, you get to spend an equal amount of time with both characters, and there's so much in the world to do that it's kind of overwhelming. I enjoy the nature of RPGs. I prefer to have all my quests and activities organized in a way that's visually easy for me to look at. And while I enjoy the Assassin's board, like the whole conspiracy board sort of layout that we have and the freedom to explore, I sometimes wish that I just had a list of everything that I found and categories where everything goes to, so I can just check them off one by one and see what is story, what is not. It felt easier to think about it in that way, because sometimes I just found myself sitting there and being like, okay, where do I go to advance the story? A good example of this is Ghost of Tsushima. There's a lot to do in that game, but the quest menu lays out a really clear map of what things are and how to progress in the main story, and what things are side quests and what things are for player progression. I think that Shadows could benefit from a second UI option. Another issue that I ran into was that there was a difference between how they handled assassins in bushes in Mirage and how they handled assassins in bushes in Shadows. In Mirage, when Basim entered a bush, the opacity of the bush basically decreased and I could see the enemy outside of the bush. And in Shadows, they don't do that. And it makes it really difficult to do assassinations in bushes because I can't see it unless I'm at a certain angle. And you have to rely completely on button prompts. So if this is a bug, can y'all please fix the bushes? It would be so appreciated. Or at the very least, add character outlines from Far Cry 6 so it makes it a bit easier to see people at distances. Overall, Assassin's Creed Mirage is an amazing time, at least exploring Japanese culture. I had such a fun time running around the world, exploring, going through temples, petting dogs and cats, and finding horses and doing all the things. And the story is super fun. And I can't wait to unlock the secrets of the Animus. Assassin's Creed Shadows is out right now, so if you pick up the game, tell me your thoughts. Tell me anything that I might have missed in the review. I want to know your thoughts. And if you're curious about my journey with the game, be sure to tune in for future streams. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget, you deserve accessibility that's on the level.